Assalamu alaikum class, hope you are fine. Today we will discuss about the teaching methods of English as a second language by discussing our module English for English language teaching. So today we will discuss about the nature of the methods of English to learn English, to get English, to know about the English as a second language. As in our previous lecture, there is a crucial difference between these three concepts like what is an approach, what is a method, and what is a technique. Approach actually is the ideology, is the strategy, is the ideology, is the theoretical framework. It provides us a background knowledge and it provides us theory and to get to get the knowledge about that theory, how we can learn it, how we can achieve it, we need to use certain methods. And after getting or taking one or a series of methods to learn or to get the knowledge of something or about an idea, afterwards we have to develop the strategies, we have to develop the techniques, that how and which sort of techniques can be in our module and can in our field to adopt a method for what, to achieve the knowledge, to overcome or to understand effectively that approach, that theory, that ideology, which is previously or which is also discussed in with by relating with other objects and the elements about any topic, about any field, about any discipline. It is not only linked with only the field of the linguistic. It is very natural that each and every discipline, whether it is law discipline, whether it is sociology, whether it is psychology department, each and every department, each and every discipline carries approaches, methods, and techniques. So it can be understand that it is a chain to achieve our goals, to get our goals, to achieve our aims and objectives regarding study. So here is a concept to elaborate the nature of the teaching methods, that what are the actually teaching methods in the field of ELT as a learning of the English as a second language. So there are multiple techniques and there are several approaches to learn English language as the second language. Methods of teaching are very significant, are very important in the process of language learning, especially as a second language. What is second language? English is our second language because it is not our native language. It is not, we are not the native speaker of English language. It is the foreigner's language. And why we follow and we want to adopt or learn the English language? Because it is an international language and it is the dire need of the time that we have to learn English, because each and every discipline enjoys the element of the English language and being as the international language. It is the source of communication. It is a common. It becomes a common language. Become all the cultures, all the um, societies, and all other countries. So methods of teaching are very important. So then these English language teaching methods are or can be classified. How they can be categorized, how they can be classified, today we have to discuss by discussing several methods, the nature of the different the several methods, why one method is different from the other method and the other is different from the other, and how many methods and how they can be implemented in the field of the English language teaching in order to get the English language knowledge of English language as a second language. These are the methods and we have to discuss all these methods one by one. Maybe we skip few methods between among this series or among this the list of the content. So first we will discuss about the grammar translation method. It is very famous and it is very renowned method in the field of English language, in the field of in order to get the knowledge of the English as a second language. So here today, two things are repeatedly used by me. Like sometime I am saying that English language teaching means ELT, and English language learning as a second language. So we have to discuss that how we can learn the English as a second language by discussing several methods in the field of English language teaching. Means how we can teach English language as a second language. So don't mix these two concepts. Means we need to introduce, we need to know about the methods, which methods, the English language teaching methods, in order why we are learning those methods and why we are using those methods to get the knowledge of the English as a second language. Because maybe you have the knowledge about the first language and the second language. First language is our native language, second language is our non-native language. English is the non-native language, it is the foreign language, it is the target language, and it is the second language as well. बट इंग्लिश बट जो है इंग्लिश वन जो है हमारी, या हमारी नेटिव लैंग्वेज जो है वो हमारी अपनी ज़ुबान होती है. किसी की पंजाबी होगी, किसी की सिंधी है, किसी की सराइकी है, किसी की पश्तो है. बट इंग्लिश जो है वो एक इंटरनेशनल लैंग्वेज बन चुकी है, इसलिए और हमें अपने नेटिव लैंग्वेज को लर्न नहीं करना पड़ता. हमें वी डू नॉट practiced and we are not drilled to get the knowledge of our native language. It is naturally with us since our birth. But English language is learned rather than the acquired. There is the concept in the field of linguistics that what is language acquisition and what is language learning. Language acquisition is the unconscious process, and through this unconscious process means where we are not attentive, we are not careful, we acquire language naturally from our environment, from our siblings, from our parents, with our lay persons, working persons. But English language learning is quite different from the language acquisition. We are conscious, we are careful, we are attentive to learn the language. Which sort of language? English language. That is why it is our second language. And due to the nature of the second language, we cannot acquire it because it is learned. It is not the our solely expression. It is not with our language with us, but second language is not with us since our birth. The phenomena of the language resides in our mind, any language, but when or which so it depends upon the atmosphere, the environment which is provided. If we are provided the environment of the second language, means we speak with our parents English since our birth, we hear, we listen them, they listen our parents, our siblings, our environmental persons to speak in English, then it can be our native language. If we do not have the exposure of the language in our childhood, then it would be the second language. So grammar translation method is the oldest traditional method of teaching English. Means it is not a novel method, it is not a new method. It means it is not created in a nowadays. It is very traditional, very oldest old method, and it is also known as the classic. So the grammar translation method had been used by the language teachers for many years. Means being a teacher, this method is adopted by several teachers in their history. If we take a quick recap of our history and or few years back, few means many years back, then this method is used and was used by the teachers. So grammar translation method was also known as the classical method, as it was used to teach the classical Latin and Greek literature, and it was believed that this method would help students to read and appreciate the foreign literature. Means ये उस वक़्त में इसलिए एलेबोरेट किया गया और उस वक़्त ये दिखाया गया कि किस तरह से आप एक फ़ॉरेन लिटरेचर को मुख्तलिफ़ तरीक़ाकार से जो हैं वो आप इनको पढ़ा सकते हैं, सिखा सकते हैं। हमारी नेक्स्ट जो स्लाइड्स हैं फर्दर, उनके अंदर ये बताया जाएगा कि व्हाट आर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड एंड व्हाट आर द डिमेरिट्स ऑफ द ट्रांसलेशन मेथड एंड व्हाट इज़ द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ द ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड। मीन्स कि उस वक़्त में ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड को ही इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ाने के लिए जो है वो क्यों अडॉप्ट किया गया। So it was also thought by studying the grammar of the target language, students will be able to understand the grammar of their native language. Which is target language? English is our target language because it is targeted to us that we have to learn English language. Why you are over here means why you are in the universities, why you adopted the English department, and why you are keen, and why the English subject is common and crucial to each and every department. Means English one is also taught in taught in the law department, in the psychology department, Urdu department, sociology department, CS department, because it is international language and it is target language. So, according to the pioneer of the GTM, they believe that the grammar of the native language should also be known by the speakers, along with the learning of the second language or the target language. And also learn to speak and write the native language is a much better way. So students may not develop communicative fluency in the target language but would become mentally sharp in the process of using target language in order to understand the native language through some similarities between the two. So here are characteristics of grammar translation methods. The grammar translation method emphasizes on reading, on writing, and the translation. Means the crux of this method is the reading, writing, and the translation. It emerges the conscious learning of grammatical rules by the learners. Means rules are learned, they are memorized, they are crammed. So it is very crucial, it is very important and vibrant goal or significant goal is to develop literary mastery of the second language. Means the crux or the emphasis on the on the learning of the second language. किसी भी तरीके से किसी भी स्ट्रेटजी के थ्रू, बेशक वो आप क्रैमिंग कर रहे हैं, रट्टाबाजी जिसको हम बोलते हैं, या आप उसको में जो मेमोराइज करते हैं, लेकिन आप कॉन्शियसली चीज़ों को लर्न करना सीख रहे होते हैं, इंग्लिश ग्रामर को सीखने के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को देख रहे होते हैं, ताकि आप अपनी सेकेंड लैंग्वेज जो है उसको इम्प्रूव कर सकें, इफ़ेक्टिवली उसको. सो मेमोराइजेशन मीन्स के टू रिकॉल, टू मेमोराइज, टू क्रैम is the central learning technique, and learners spend their class time talking about what is the language instead of talking in the language. कि क्लासेस के अंदर जो एम्फेसाइज होता है वो किस पे हो रहा होता है, आप उन रूल्स को देख रहे होते हैं कि हाउ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इज कंबाइंड, how it is formed, how it is organized, what is subject, what is verb, what is object, what are the other parts of speech and the element of the English grammar, rather than pupils are allowed and they are in the habit to speak English with one another. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होता है, क्लास में इंग्लिश में बात नहीं की जाएगी, लेकिन उसके रूल्स और रेगुलेशन को देखा जाएगा ट्रांसलेशन के थ्रू, नेटिव लैंग्वेज का सहारा लिया जाएगा. जैसे जब मैं आपको कोड स्विच कर रही हूँ, इंग्लिश से मैं उर्दू में आ रही हूँ, उर्दू से मैं इंग्लिश में आ रही हूँ. इट इज़ द GTM. The one principle of the GTM is the translation. That we start to translate the things when we consider that students are not understanding effectively because English is not their native language. So in our Urdu language is a common language, it is sometimes it is our, most of the time it is official language, but maybe Urdu language for some people it is native language. So here we have a common language with Urdu language and we start to translate in Urdu. So English word, phrases and sentences are taught by means of word for word translation into mother tongue. Means to make effective learners in English language learning, the pioneer, the teachers of the when they use the grammar translation method, they start to translate word to word. each and every sentence, each and every phrase. They provide a substitutive word from the Urdu language, rather than they are thoroughly they need to be thoroughly speaking in English language, but it does not um, implement in this case. All the time teachers used to translative words, substitutive words in the English language as a clarify the nature of the English language, try to understand the rules and regulation to the learners using the Urdu language or their any native language. So the curriculum. What is curriculum? Curriculum means the syllabus, but curriculum and syllabus differs. Curriculum is a broader term, means English language department has its curriculum by categorizing 20 subjects of the linguistics and 20 subjects for the literature. It is the curriculum of the English department, but the syllabus would be that which is adopted by the teachers by choosing a peculiar or the a specific subject like phonetics, like morphology, and start to draw the outlines that how he or she should be teach the students which content should become first and which content should become at the end, and which are by which techniques, and how he can effectively teach by using those techniques. This is called the syllabus. Curriculum is broader, syllabus is narrowing. So the curriculum requires the memorization of paradigms, means substitutions, chains, patterns, and vocabulary, with translation being used to test the acquired knowledge. Consequently, the role of language one, which is our native language, which is our mother tongue, is quite prominent according to Grade and et al. Et al. Means the other pioneers who believes in this quotation, means the curriculum requires the memorization, means in the grammar translation method our syllabus and curriculums require, or it should be according to the memorization of the paradigms, patterns, vocabulary by taking help of the translation in order to get the knowledge of the second language. As a result, or as a matter of fact, the role of language one would be quite prominent, means के ट्रांसलेशन जो है वो वहाँ पर है, किस में है, मदर टंग में है, तो ट्रांसलेशन जो है वो उसका ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन का क्रक्स है किसके नज़दीक, अकॉर्डिंग टू ग्रेड एट ऑल in 1993. So as it is very natural that each and every theory and each and every element or the approach has its demerits and few of the merits and few of the demerits. So up till now we have discussed the principles and the characteristics of the grammar translation method, but there are few demerits of the grammar translation method. So what could be they? Grammar translation method ignores the natural way of learning a language. Means it ignores that we speak in our native language fluently, without any hurdle, without any obstacle, but it is not happened in the learning of the English language. We translate the things, we take the help of native language, translation, memorization, and the emphasizes on the learning of the rules of the language rather than the use of the language. So secondly, its purpose is to prepare students at passive mastery of the language. Teacher is the authoritative in the classroom, students are listening him or her passively. Teacher is active, listeners are passive. So it is the drawback of the grammar translation method. It binds the language within the rules of grammar and makes the students passive listener. Teacher comes in the class and start to elaborate the rules. Rule number 1, rule number 2, principle number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth. Listeners are listening passively rather than putting question, raising question, or developing the concepts during the class, during the lecture. All the time teacher is the authoritative. He or she is the administrative in the classroom. So classrooms are teacher centered rather than student centered. So teacher's role would be an administrative rather than a facilitator. Means teacher is not over there as a facilitator. He or she does not facilitate the learners to speak out. Do not encourage the students to speak in English, to speak the broken sentences, to speak the broken phrases, but they need to be speak out. But the case is opposite. The scenario is opposite. Teacher is all the time speaking in the classroom, elaborating the concepts by focusing on the learning of the English grammar. Then the pioneers of the grammar translation method also emphasizes on the accuracy first than fluency. They snub the students to make errors. Errors are not welcomed in the classroom. They are snubbed. So they lose their confidence and focusing and noticing that they should be whether they are speaking accurately or wrongly. They should be accurate in the classroom. Then in this scenario the fluency is diminished and the accuracy start to emerge, but not 100% or not in an effective manner. So the use of the language is important as compared to the use of the linguistic item. Means they do not need they do not elaborate the knowledge of the how they can be speaking in English, but their concern is to elaborate the usage of the English language, the principles of the English grammar, the rules and regulations of the English grammar. So structures are preferred कि स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो सेंटेंस फॉर्मेशन अच्छी बना रहे हैं, सब्जेक्ट अपनी जगह पे आ रहा है, ऑब्जेक्ट अपनी जगह पे आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है, उस पैटर्न को देखा जाता है. ये नहीं बताया जाता स्टूडेंट्स को कि हाउ दे कैन स्पीक फ्लुएंटली इन इंग्लिश as we speak in our native language. So these